Hey everybody, just Mrs. Bevington here. I'm about to do a What You Need to Know About the Book Thief, chapters 11 and 12, which are the smell of friendship and the heavyweight champion of the schoolyard. Okay, so first the smell of friendship. Um, we are already learning that Hans and Liesel are starting to learn to read together. And so Liesel has these nightmares at night. Hans wakes up. Sometimes he plays the accordion for her and they read. Um, in this chapter, Hans and Liesel offer to deliver washing for Rosa one day, and they end up going toward Dachau, which is a concentration camp. And so, what you need to know here's an allusion because this is a mention of an actual place in literature. Dachau was a camp that was established in 1933, and it was one of the first detention camps established by Nazis. So, you can look up Dachau and get a sense of what happened there and what it was all about. These camps were made to contain the people that Hitler felt were unfit for society. So there's a lot of history there. As they're delivering the wash, Hans plays the accordion, and he has like a confused look on his face, which Liesel doesn't really understand, which we don't know about, but we find out that it's connected to the accordion, where the accordion came from. So we'll find out more about that later. The accordion, again, is a symbol. It's a symbol of peace. It's a symbol of friendship. It's a symbol of many things in the story. So they continue to read, and as they progress, they're running out of sandpaper to write things on. So Hans begins using the wall in the basement. And once the wall gets too full, he paints over them and they start again. So they're really getting into all of the reading, and Liesel's progressing very well. The smell of friendship, which is the title of the chapter, is the smell of Hans, which Rosa describes as being like cigarettes and kerosene. The kerosene is used to clean the paintbrushes off, so that's kind of the smell that lingers around him. But for Liesel, it's a smell that she loves. It's the smell of someone she loves. So she's not bothered by this scent that Rosa thinks is horrible. To her, it means happiness, it means friendship, and she's grateful to have Hans in her life. And so that is the smell of friendship. The next chapter is one that everybody tends to really like, the heavyweight champion of the schoolyard. So we're in 1939, it's the summer, and in September and November, a couple of things are important that happen. First of all, in the beginning of September, World War II actually starts. Germany invades Poland, England and France decide to declare war. So that is the beginning of World War II. Liesel's hearing Hitler's voice all over the radio. It's in the newspapers. They're starting to ration their food and materials. That means they're holding on to it. They're stockpiling it, kind of. Liesel begins to hear about, all of these things, and she's also going to start fighting herself. So even though she has been progressing, she's not doing well in school with the reading. She's in a younger class because she doesn't know how to read, but she starts to become too disruptive there. So she's moved up to a class of kids her own age. And she usually gets beaten if she's out of line, which is not uncommon in schools in that time. In November, her teacher, who is Sister Maria, sister meaning a nun, a Catholic nun, usually, is calling people's names to do an oral reading exam. And she calls on Rudy, and Liesel's like really impressed with Rudy's reading. He does well, but she doesn't call on Liesel. So Rudy volunteers Liesel, and Sister Maria tells Rudy that she isn't ready. Liesel kind of gets a little ticked off about that and says she can do it. So when she gets up in front of the class, she can't see anything at all. She's almost like panicking. And all she can think about is a passage from the Gravedigger's Handbook. So she just starts to recite the passage about how to bury someone when it's snowing. It's probably not something you want to recite in class. And Sister Maria gets pretty upset with her, and she gets a beating. During recess at that time, a student called Ludwig Schmilk, Schmilkel, I think, starts to tease her and calls her a dummkopf, which means idiot, and says, "Here, help me read this. Go ahead." So she grabs his book and then starts to beat him up. So there's the title of the chapter. She calls him every swear word that Rosa has taught her. And she beats him pretty badly. It's not like a slapping, scratching. She's pounding on him pretty hard. So she sees one of the boys that they play soccer with. She sees smiling, so she starts to beat him too. Sister Maria finally sees what's happening, and she discovers that it's Liesel that's done this because she looks for the knuckles to see who's got the bloody knuckles, and it's Liesel. And then she gets a severe beating. So there's a lot of fighting going on in this chapter. She's pretty upset. As she's going home, she starts thinking about her family, the fact that she's lost her entire real family at this point. And everything that's happened during this day has been so hard on her. So, yeah, she starts to cry, and Rudy stays with her and walks her back home. She asks a question: why did he have to die? And she's talking about her brother. So it's pretty emotional at the end there, but everyone kind of gets a lot of joy out of the beatings. I don't know. All right, guys, that's all for this time. We'll talk to you later.